We're going to have a look at what's grabbing the headlines here in France. It's a very sad day here in France today because France is beginning to commemorate the second anniversary of the January 2015 attacks here in Paris, in particular, of course, that attack on the headquarters of the satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo, Alison.
Yes, that anniversary will be this Saturday, the 7th of January, but the mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo, along with the Interior Ministry, they will be commemorating those victims today, along with the victims from the Hyper attacks. Let's start by looking at the cover of this week's Charlie Hebdo. It says 2017, finally the end of the tunnel, enfin le bout du tunnel, except you can see, of course, that tunnel is the barrel of a gun. The drawing is by Fools, who is part of the paper's new generation of cartoonists.
Now, 9 members of the Charlie Hebdo team were killed when they... How is the team actually doing now?
Well, Stuart, Charlie is still alive. That's the response from the cartoonist Coco. On the cover of today's Libération, you can see a host of characters there, a neo-Nazi, a jihadist, a cardinal, and they're all saying zut. So they're not so happy that the paper is still thriving. Some people are, though. Libération, the paper, asked Italian director Francesco Mazza to come and visit the Charlie Hebdo team and check up on them. Why him? Well, he had written an article defending a Charlie Hebdo cartoon that some of you may remember that had also been by Coco, that it upset many Italians after the earthquake last August. It compares Italians to different types of pasta. They called it earthquake à l'italienne, Italian-style earthquake. Today's Libé is Charlie à l'italienne, Italian-style Charlie. And that director, Francesco Mazza, tells us about his trip to what he calls the bunker of Charlie Hebdo. You know, they had to change their headquarters. It's now in a secret location. He describes very, very heavy security going in there. And before he could actually get in and talk to some of the journalists, he talked in particular to the paper's head of human resources, and he asked her about where we are today with freedom of expression and how she feels about that. And she said that to her, drawing is really one of the most instinctive ways that we express our liberty. And she talked about children in particular. She said that children love to draw and they love freedom, and that she was particularly moved that in the wake of those attacks, children did not stop drawing.
Yeah, the team's still going strong then. The attack plunged France, of course, into this big war on terrorism. Le Monde is taking a look at how President François Hollande is leading anti-terrorism operations abroad. Yeah,
and one of those ways is through targeted executions of terrorists. Le Monde confirms that the French government doesn't hesitate to take out terrorists abroad in Iraq and Syria and in the Sahel region, the southern part of northern Africa. And this is something we already knew. The information was revealed by the book Un président ne devrait pas dire ça, a president shouldn't say that. And Le Monde, though, publishes excerpts from a new book called Erreur Fatale, Fatal Errors, that came out yesterday. And that book explains that some 40 terrorists, including 8 French citizens, were killed by these operations between 2013 and 2016. It's called Opération Homo, for homicide, homicide. And Le Monde says we should really be thinking about the legality of these operations. It's kind of a gray area because these people are combatants in a sense, but they're also citizens and people with rights. And so that's something, according to Le Monde, that we really need to start thinking about.
OK, but the papers are also continuing to look as well to the presidential election, of course, here in France this spring. The communist paper, L'Humanité, has decided to take candidates to task on poverty here in France.
Yeah, Humanité has an order for politicians. They say, stop instrumentalizing poverty, stop using poverty, fix it. Arrêtez d'instrumentaliser la pauvreté, réglons-la. According to the paper, poverty is exploding here in France. 9 million people were living below the poverty line in 2014, and that number has only gone up. The paper directs its message particularly to the left. It says that in order to fix the situation, the left has to take up the class struggle and more equally distribute wealth.
And L'Humanité seems to be responding almost to a report which is in today's Le Parisien. This is about working class voters, isn't it?
These are voters that used to vote for the left, but much like working class Americans in the Rust Belt, as we saw during the American election, they are now, we say, found that they have been disenchanted and tend to be very undecided voters. According to the Parisien, this investigation that they did, these voters go back and forth between Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who's on the far left, Marine Le Pen on the far right, and also Emmanuel Macron, who says to be neither one nor the other.
You mentioned Marine Le Pen. Now, she's given her New Year wishes to the media, hasn't she?
She has, and she says that she is ready to enter into battle. Although she hasn't officially launched her campaign, that's planned for early February. Le Parisien says that the party used its press conference in particular to show its unity in the new year, and it focuses on one audience member in particular, which was Marion Le Pen, the niece of Marine Le Pen, and she has been known to be in kind of conflict with Marine Le Pen's right-hand man, Florian Philippot. And so the Parisien notes, though, that she did her duty and she showed up and kept a low profile.
Okay. Before we finish the papers, can't finish without mentioning, the cyclist, of course, we told you about just a few minutes ago. Robert Marchand riding 22.5 kilometres in 1 hour. The impressive number is his age, though, isn't it? 105, and the papers are full of it, of course.
Right, 105, but the heart of a 50-year-old. French papers can't get enough of this guy today.
Neither can we.
I know, it is. It's a pretty incredible feat, and Stuart, we're wondering if this could be all of our futures. Bientôt tous des super centenaires. Will we soon all be super centenarians? That's what the Parisien is asking today. Alas, the answer is no. He's not a medical miracle. He's just the result of a healthy life and some very, very good genes. But the Parisien talks to a doctor in this today's edition who reminds us that it's never too late to start exercising.
There you go. You better run out the studio then. Run back up the stairs. That's what'll help. Thank you very much, Alison Sargent with the papers on France 24.